Hello my humans, my name is Dael Kingsmill. So, if you follow this channel for my D&D stuff, you'll know that most of what I do is fairly homebrew focused. Maybe not in the sense of like majority homebrew, like making up my own classes or anything, but rules tweaks or, you know, ideas to mechanically flesh out different ideas. That's kind of what we do here. And I have received a number of comments across the board of my D&D catalog, which sort of seem to assume things about the way that I run homebrew that I don't know what they're based on. So what I thought I could do for this video is to talk about how to actually implement homebrew content into your game. You know, how to introduce your players to the ideas. All that good sort of session zero communication-y stuff. Ow! I pinched my finger! Ouch. That's what I get for moving the microphone. Yikes. Yowza. See, now session zero, I'm neither here nor there on the subject of whether you must have a session zero or not. I do think it's a good idea. I think everything in this video, you'll find, keeps coming back to the idea of communication. Communication is great. It's a good thing. We're all pretty bad at it. We all suck. Have you ever met someone who's good at communicating? Because I haven't. But it is a good tool in your DM's tool belt to get good at knowing what is fun stuff to keep secret from your players and what is stuff that will be just as fun if you open up lines of communication and talk to them about it. And that turns out to be most things. So one of the comments that sort of sparked this video was someone saying, "You have so much homebrew stuff that you've made up yourself. How are you running all these things at once?" And the answer is, of course, that I'm not. No, all of the homebrew that I do is, I call them opt-in mechanics. Kind of, if you've ever played Dragon Age Inquisition, at the very least, I think a number of video games do it, but I know for sure it's in Dragon Age Inquisition. They have a bunch of extra, they've got like a separate section of options where you can turn on sort of new rules or limitations that make the game harder or different. It alters the game and you can choose whether or not to include it. That's what all of my homebrew is. But let's get a little more in depth with that. What I do, I have a set, and I recommend that you look at your homebrew stuff, because, okay, look, I imagine if you're following my channel, you're probably a DM who likes including homebrew content. That's an assumption I'm making here. So I start with a smaller set of homebrew rules of mine that are automatically turned on unless you opt out. If the players are absolutely not interested in these rules tweaks, then I will drop them, but I have set them aside because they are rules that make the game more fun for me. And explain that to your players. They know that you're playing the game too. You're a player in this game. Just because you're running it doesn't mean that you're not supposed to have fun. So what are the things that makes it more fun for you? For me, my list includes alternative alignment, improved Beastmaster if anyone's playing a ranger, wisdom initiative, which for anyone who doesn't know, I think I've only talked about this on Twitter. I let my players roll for initiative with either dex or wisdom, because the idea is that, like, if you're rolling with dex, your character might just be very fast to react to something. But if you want to roll with wisdom, the idea is that you see the fight coming. You know, we've all been in that situation where we're hanging around and we can feel tensions rising and we know that people are about to start arguing or maybe, you know, come to blows. We know what that feels like. So maybe your character is that kind of an initiative roller, so they roll with wisdom. So that's 3. Drinking a potion for yourself is a bonus action, classic. Muted death save damage, which is just that if you take damage while unconscious, instead of automatically taking 2 failures for your death saves, because one for getting hit, one for automatic critical, instead of that, I just make my players roll for an extra death save, and if it's a failure, it counts towards it, but if it's a success, it doesn't. So it's just, you know, it's deadly, but it's a little bit less deadly. And passive perception is passive. I think that having 10 plus your perception score is too much for passive perception, because half the time you will be rolling less than that if you're actively looking for something, which just seems like a lot to me. So I just have passive perception be 7 plus whatever your perception bonus is. So those are 6 things that I have that are always turned on unless players say, no, that sucks. And then we can have a conversation about it. Now, apart from those 6, I've got just a list of all my homebrews that I am happy to run, along with little descriptions of them that are kind of, they make them sound good. All of the descriptions are a very brief, non-mechanical description of what's happening, and also are trying to sell the idea. Because you want it to sound fun! Multilingual, even polyglots have a language that they're best at. Characters rank their language proficiencies by different degrees of fluency. No dimensional travel spells. The realms of existence don't bend to your petty will. Remove spells that allow easy travel between the planes. So it's just a really brief description of what they are, and what I do is, I hold a session 0, and I have my players sat down, and I say to them, hey, here's a list of all my homebrews. I hand out little papers, they can all look through them. They don't have to read them all in detail, but anything that catches their eye that they're interested in playing with, they say, hey, what's this one, this polyglot thing that you've got here? And then we talk about it more in depth, and I describe how it works mechanically. And then we can decide from there whether they're actually interested in using it in-game, or whether it's something they're not so keen on. It's all about the conversation afterwards. You have to have the conversation afterwards. When it's your favored ones that you like running with, your shortlist at the start, if they say, I don't know about that, don't just leave it there. Have a conversation about it and really sort of work out why you like it and why they don't like the sound of it, and then decide based on the conversation whether you'll include it. For your longer list of opt-ins, don't just leave it at, hey, this sounds interesting, and automatically put it in. Have a conversation about it. See why they like the idea of it, see how that compares to how you would actually run it, and then decide based on the conversation. You see what's happening here? Talk to your players, it's so important. So that's how I do it for like, sort of things that will affect the whole group. You may have noticed based on my videos, however, that some of the stuff that I talk about, Thieves' Cant probably being the most popular example, will only apply to a particular class. For those examples, you don't have to worry about letting the whole group in on it, and in the case of something like Thieves' Cant, maybe it'll be more fun to not let the whole group in on it. But for that player, you're going to want to have that conversation. Send them a message, go get lunch with them and have a chat about it. Here, for example, why am I stepping aside? This isn't a visual thing. Here's an audio clip of me sitting down. I was talking with Kate. She plays Orvin in my campaign. He's our cleric. We sat down to create the religion that Orvin would be a part of together, just like I did in that video. But in the middle of it as well, something that she said sort of ticked a little box in my head. Hopefully I found the audio clip.
I think it's more circle of lifey. Like, you don't get reincarnated, but like your life and death serves a purpose within the greater story of the universe. Like, you leave an imprint, you know, like antelope eat the grass sort of style, and we eat the antelope. Like, you sort of contribute in a way.
Right. So by, you know, living your life to its end, you've accomplished things that then have their own run-on effect and affect the next.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're kind of responsible to input whatever this version of goodness is into the world, and that is its own reward. Like, living a good life.
Right. Okay. So then that's interesting in terms of as a life cleric, you know, there's that idea of, you know, bringing people back from the brink of death and maybe even resurrections, things along those lines. So do you think that fits into this idea of the circle of life in a positive way in terms of, you know, people can continue to have their positive impact for as long as they survive, for as long as their lifespan so I mean there is a tendency towards, you know, having that idea of dying when you die is natural and bringing someone back from the dead is unnatural
and scary.
But in the context of a life cleric where this is the kind of a thing, making that positive, making that the idea of no, as long as you have been brought back to life, then clearly your timeline isn't done.
I think like you know, with a lot of religions, death is the reward because it's what comes after that you're working towards. But for this, the life is the reward, and getting to experience is the reward. And so it's not like, even though when you die you will contribute, it's like that shouldn't be the goal. I don't think it's self-sacrificial. I think that Orvin is self-sacrificial, but I don't think the religion in of itself is.
Right. So life is the work and life is the reward.
Yeah, and so giving people the opportunity to live is kinder than letting them die, because in this case, it's not like,
There is, so I don't know whether you're interested in using it or not. It's a totally optional homebrew of mine. But I do have a rule system, which is basically in an attempt to, because resurrection, once you have resurrection spells, it's like all you really need is money. And let's be honest, players get money very easily and very quickly. So in a bid to like have resurrection still be a thing, but not totally negate the threat of death, I have a thing written up that is basically every time a cleric resurrects someone, the way that they do that is by basically using a piece of their own soul to hold the other person's soul.
I had a
in their
really
body.
similar thought earlier, like well at the beginning when all the writing was just here. So
Well,
I'm
because
into
I was
that.
thinking, after you were talking about this stuff, I was thinking, like, if Orvan's approach to this stuff is very self-sacrificial, and then the religion is also interested in, like, resurrection as a positive thing, then it does seem like it fits fairly well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's that idea that, you know, any one cleric can only resurrect someone once. They can resurrect multiple people lots of times. Like,
But
giving out
only
little bits of
one
their soul, but
person.
yeah, it's like
One person can only be resurrected the one time. Like they don't get
by
like,
that person. Like,
Oh,
so
okay.
you can be resurrected multiple times, but it has to be by a different cleric.
Yeah.
So, because you've already put a piece of your soul in them, you can't,
can't,
just put
like-
another piece in and go, yeah, I'm still holding them here. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just
Yeah, no,
that.
I like that.
Cool. I don't know how long that clip went from, so I just did this for as long as I could. But see how simple it is? I'm just like, hey, you're a cleric. We're talking about cleric stuff. Are you interested in this piece of homebrew? And she said, yeah, you know what? That sounds great. Boom. Easy as that. I'm very lucky in that my own homebrew content, I have a lot of videos for. The other day, I was talking to my rogue and I said, hey, regarding Thieves' Cant, are you interested in this? And sent her a link to the video. My players in general know that they aren't typically allowed to watch my D&D videos just in case I accidentally give something away. So I get to be like a douchey overlord when I just drop a video in and I say, I bestow upon you permission to watch this single video. Oh, I'm the worst. Watch this if you want to, and let me know what bits of it you like. If you want to play it that way, if you'd rather play it the way as written in the book, and she will get back to me, and we will find out. Really, it's a trick of like, learning to love your ideas so you put them forward, but also not being so attached to them that you have to run absolutely every single piece of homebrew that you've come up with or that you found that you love. It's cherry picking, you know? So class specific things, talk to that player directly. Things that would affect the whole group, I think session 0 is great for that. Now, sometimes a player will come to you with a piece of homebrew that they found that they would love to implement. If you love it too, that's not hard. Sometimes a player will bring you something that you're like, oh, don't know if that fits in the game that I want to run. And again, it's communication. It's a little bit harder communication, or more work at least, but it comes back around again, I think, to figuring out why they like that piece of homebrew, getting them to explain that while you explain why you don't think it fits in with the game right now, and then looking for ways to compromise. They might be very happy to just say, no worries, I'll find another game to play this in. But other times you might be able to go, oh, this is the thing you love about it? You love the idea of playing, I don't know, a unique race, then maybe you can start to come up with a way to slot that into your game where you thought that maybe it wouldn't fit. Generally, if your player isn't too much of a wangrod, if you tell them something like, oh, I think this is a bit too highly powered for the rest of the party balance, or I think this might be too difficult or too much work for me to run, generally they're gonna understand that and they're gonna work with you because they understand that, hey, this is a group activity. I'm hitting my bunting everywhere. You can't even see it, but it's going crazy. This is a group activity. Everyone's looking to have fun. Let's be a team player. But do try to compromise, work with them. At the very least, please communicate. So there it is. I hope that clears some things up for you. I do not force my players to play any of the homebrew rules that I have made videos on. I certainly don't force my players to use all of the homebrew rules that I've made videos on. I think if you are a homebrew heavy DM, you will find that there are a handful, probably a maximum of like 10, but usually less than that, of homebrew rules that you really just love and won't have as much fun if you don't play with them. And I recommend finding those and spending your energy on trying to keep them involved in your game so that you can keep having fun. But the rest of them, be loosey-goosey. There will be other D&D games, there will be other players, and it's all about everyone having fun. I can't think of anything else I have to say. Yes, I can, I just thought of it. Like a steel trap. We did Gameramo. We finished Gameramo. Hooray! Woo! Bra-ba-ba. Bra-ba-ba? I meant bra-bra and brow, brow. But it happened at the same time. A bunch of people have sent me their Gameramo designs, and this coming weekend, so that'll be Sunday the 15th, midday, Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Work out what that is for you. We're going to have a live stream probably here on YouTube where we just we talk about some of the designs, and it'll be like a little party, a get together / book club, but without books. We'll be looking at designs that some people have done, and we'll be going, ooh, isn't that nice? I don't know, I think it'll be fun. We won't be able to look at everyone's, but we will do our best. So I hope to see you then. Apart from that, I do believe that's it. I'm done. Email this to your grandma, and I will see you some other time. Look at this. No one cares about my Rubik's Cube anymore.